coverage of
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball comes live from St. Louis this week, where the Cardinals welcome the LA Dodgers to Busch Stadium in Missouri. That's tonight's late night action right here from 1.
I'm Brad Keselowski, and you're watching NASCAR America.
Brad Keselowski will go to Victory Land in New Hampshire.
Confidence in everybody on the team, and roll tide.
Is the championship swagger back for Brad Keselowski?
Just look at that race team.
Is Penske the number 2 team now in NASCAR?
Rick, I think you can make the case they're number 1 right now.
The 33 car hit him? Yeah, he drives in on the apron, so then he won't turn, so then he drives straight up the racetrack.
You drive down the road, you catch Fowen at 10 miles per hour on the highway, that seems pretty quick, right? Sure. Now do that at racing speeds, he couldn't hold his line. It was his fault.
Be sure to check out NASCAR America here on NBC SN for all things NASCAR, weekdays, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss it. Welcome back to Toronto, where we are now minutes away from the start of the second race of this doubleheader. This is IndyCar Live, brought to you by Verizon. Drivers are being introduced to the crowd, and once again, our congratulations to all of the Canadian fans, or all the fans here in Toronto, wherever they may have come from, who sat through the rain yesterday. We spoke with some during the afternoon. They understood completely why officials could not start the race, even though that didn't necessarily go down well with members of the IndyCar fraternity. There's Justin Wilson. We'll be talking with his car owner in just a moment. But right now, let's hear from the man who was at the center of yesterday's controversy on behalf of IndyCar. He's with Robin Miller.
Derek, yesterday was a tough day for any race official, but the drivers really were happy that you supported them and didn't run the race, whereas a lot of the fans said they wish they would have started the race. Any second thoughts? Did you think you're still happy with what happened?
It was the best decision we ever made. We could have had some exciting racing, but I'm sure it'd be a lot of damage, and I'm not sure if the fans would have really seen a race. So we postponed it. We did it this morning, and it was the best thing we ever did. Now we've got another race here, and the fans have turned out. It's going to be good.
You've been doing this a long time. You've been a team manager. You've been a mechanic. You've been a car owner. And you know racing people are always unhappy. So yesterday we had 2 conspiracy theories. One, you let Will Power work on the car because you used to work for Roger Penske and you used to be his manager. And then the other one was that you were just trying to help Penske win the championship because it's been such a long time. Do you just laugh when you hear stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, what else do you say? No truth to the rumor at all. That's one thing I've never done, and I would never do. We don't have favorites here. It's all about racing, but I think it's good that people are paying attention. It gives them something to talk about, doesn't it?
It does. Okay, now you got a little news for us. We may start this race a little early.
Yeah, race control, I just heard them on the radio there. They're looking at weather front coming in, and if we can get out ahead of that and get running, then we'll have a better chance to be able to race in the rain. But once it lays on the track, it's a lot harder. We'd be up against it just like yesterday, and it'll be a delay. So we're going to start probably about 10 minutes early here, get them out there, and this front goes through, which isn't a big one. So you'll see some variation. They'll go from dries probably to wets and then back to dries, so that'll make the race a lot more interesting.
But you're saying if you start in the dry and it starts raining, it won't be like yesterday, the spray should be okay?
I think that we'll be able to hold it off, because one thing our cars do is move a lot of air. And if there's a lot of moisture gets on the racetrack, it's going to push it out and blow it out of the way. So it stops it puddling, and the puddling is really what hurts us the most. So I think these cars will soon move a line when it rains, and we'll see some good racing in the rain.
All right, thanks, Derek. Bobby, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Robin. Now we understand that we may need to move up the schedule just a little bit to make sure we get race 2 in case it does rain. There you see the drivers talking it over. Will Power on the left, Simon Pagenaud, and Elio Castroneves. Another break coming up. On the other side, we'll hear from a man who loves his racing and has for a long time, Dale Coyne, when we return. We're back in Toronto. 4 more races after today's event remain in the 2014 IndyCar season. And remember, you can be a part of Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes. Just go to shophonda.com to sign up. Enter for your chance to lead the start of a Verizon IndyCar Series race. No purchase is necessary. As you see, driver introductions have concluded. The drivers are making a lap of the track. James Hinchcliffe just went by where I'm standing, and the crowd went absolutely nuts. Now, IndyCar fans know there are teams big and small in the series, and one of the smaller teams that's had a big impact is run by Dale Coyne, who has spent decades in the sport Here's a small sampling of the drivers who have come through Dale's team. Some of them have won for him, including Justin Wilson. He is a man who may not have the biggest budget in the paddock, but he loves racing and winning as much as anybody.
It's been a couple of years since Dale Coyne went to victory lane, and Carlos Huertas, his rookie driver, albeit under yellow, will see the checkered flag first.
Nice job.
There it is.
Nice job, Carlos.
A first-time winner in the Verizon IndyCar Series.
Yeah, it was a perfect Saturday. He was very happy. Went to each member of the team to say thank you, and yeah, he was just very happy.
He's a very hands-on team owner. He likes to be involved in every part of his race team, and I think it shows his passion for the sport.
My first IndyCar race, Dale Coyne was the only guy that would take a shot. As the series was about to start, I got a call from Dale. He said, hey, I got a car. You want to come run at Long Beach? We said yes. He was really the guy that gave me the springboard and the opportunity, which led to the rest of my career.
Just fell in love with racing. You know, as a kid, went up to Road America and went to the June sprints and saw everything racing, and then the Formula 5000 cars came out. They were the coolest thing I've ever seen, and that set me on my way. That was my goal and my dream, what I wanted to do.
This is Dale Coyne. He got in the race, and he's doing what a lot of people only talk about or maybe dream about, and that is getting into an IndyCar race.
I'm very happy we started when we did in those early days when the sport was still evolving. It was a good time to be there.
Justin Wilson has run a near picture-perfect race as he wins at Watkins Glen International. And Dale Coyne Racing will go to victory lane for the first time in the IndyCar Series.
And the last few years, we worked to bring a strong guy in. Justin's been great. I mean, he's very quick in a car.
When I first joined the team in 2009, we were a little rough around the edges. Came back in 2012, there was a big step up. We've been pushing him, and he's accepted the push and the suggestions, and it's the only way he can compete. Now he's won 4 races as a team owner.
He's now shown that he can win consistently every year. Never has had the top budget or had the top drivers in the field, but he's willing to work at it and work hard.
His plan is to build the team up, get stronger, and be a front runner every weekend.
I mean, the sport's been my life. I mean, anybody who's here and lasts more than a year, it becomes their life. Racing's not a job; it's a lifestyle. Whether I was driving in the early days or today as a team owner, I'll be here for a long time.
All right, thankfully, Dale Coyne's a much better car owner than he was a race driver. He'll get that tongue-in-cheek comment, but when he started out, he had a stock block Chevy, and he was like, this guy was going to be around a couple years. Well, guess what? Besides A.J. Foyt and Roger Penske, Dale Coyne's the 3rd longest tenured owner in this series. And the most important thing about Dale Coyne's operation is it went from everybody that you've never heard of from overseas buying a ride with him, and they're running in the back, and nobody really pays attention to him. And then suddenly, he starts to get some respect. Oriole Servia helped him run pretty good. And then along comes Justin Wilson, and they win their first race after 25 years. And after Justin Wilson, then Mike Conway last year, and then Carlos Huertas this year. And suddenly, Chip Ganassi doesn't have a victory this year, but Dale Coyne does. And I think what's happened is the pit stops are better. He may be the only guy in this series over a period of 15 or 20 years that's actually made money as a car owner, because he's smart, he knows the rule book, and believe it or not, he was actually in charge of the CEO of CART for a couple of months, and I still think he was probably the best, smartest guy we had, but he realized that was a horrible job. He wanted to go back and be a car owner. And I'll tell you something, Bobby, Dale Coyne's done such a good job through the years of making do with what he had, and I just think he represents what guys want to do in racing. They want to try it and see if they're any good at it. He just keeps getting better and better, smarter and smarter. If there's some big controversy today, we're going to run down and ask him, because he's Mr. Rulebook too.
All right, thanks very much, Robin. Dale Coyne is indeed one of the most popular figures in the pit lane. There is Simon Pagenaud, had a great drive in race 1. Will he have another in race 2? We'll find out shortly. We've got another break coming up. The fans here on the streets of Toronto missed out yesterday, but they've turned out today. Pre-race ceremonies down at trackside when we return. Welcome back to Toronto. In the background, Prince's Gate, emblematic of this track that has hosted the Verizon IndyCar Series for nearly 3 decades. The cars are now gridded down in the pit lane. All the teams getting organized as we get set for the pre-race ceremonies, the invocation, and the singing of the national anthems of both Canada and the United States. So right now, let's go down trackside for the ceremonies.
Race fans, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as IndyCar Ministries chaplain David Storbeck offers this afternoon's invocation.
Will you pray with me, please? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this great city of Toronto and all the participants, sponsors, and volunteers that make this event possible. We ask for your protection for all of our drivers, crews, officials, and our great fans. We pray that our actions today and every day will bring honor and glory to your holy name. Grant us wisdom and discernment as we live in anticipation of one day being home with you. Thank you for Jesus and what he did for us on the cross, and we pray all of this in his holy and precious name. Amen.
Race fans, please remain standing and join well-known Toronto anthem singer Douglas Tranquada for the singing of the Canadian and United States national anthems.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for
The fans are excited. We're ready to go. It was so much fun the first time around. We thought we would play 2 in Toronto today, and we're ready to go for race number 2. They're going to move up the start, so when we come back, we're going to go racing. The standing start when the lights go out after this as we wrap up IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon. We're ready to go for race number 2 here in Toronto. The drivers getting suited up. We'll start engines and turn out the lights in a moment.
Welcome to Toronto for nearly 3 decades. A standby in the Verizon IndyCar Series. Today, race 14 of 18 as the season winds towards its conclusion and the crowning of a champion. This is the Honda Indy Toronto 2 in TO, and for the first time since 1981, 2 full points-paying races will take place on the same day. One is in the books, won by Sebastian Bourdais. 1 is about to unfold here on NBCSN. Look at the eyes of Will Power. He's been losing ground of the championship. He will try to make it up as he starts at the front of this 23-car field. Now let's talk a little bit about this 1.75-mile, 11-turn racetrack. Townsend Bell and Paul Tracy.
Well, Bob, this is perhaps the trickiest street circuit on the calendar here in Toronto, and it all starts down in turn 1. Varied surfaces here, these concrete patches, so bumpy as we see Briscoe working through there, and then it comes down here to Calamity Corner, they call it, turn 3, the big heavy brake zone down from very high speed, and a great opportunity to pass. We see it all day long, and if you stay side by side here, you've got the advantage through this left-hand kink. And it can be such an advantage that it tempts both drivers to try to force their way to have an edge, doesn't it, Paul?
Well, you got to get the power down out of here. There's not a very easy way to get up that hill, 2 abreast. We saw it this morning in this morning's race, 2 accidents there and almost an accident with Will Power, so he decided to back out of it. But it's so tempting when you've got that inside line, you just want to keep it.
Watching you and Castro Neves there last year, or a couple years ago actually, here in Toronto. And then it comes down to turn 8. There's this super fast kink, and it's very bumpy. Right after that right-hand kink, you get onto the brakes here. Again, huge bumps, concrete patches. You can pass, but it's very, very tricky to control the car into braking. And then that leads into a very sweeping sections, turns 9, 10, and 11. And it's all about rhythm. You're going to use a lot of the curb here, as we're on board with Ryan Briscoe from last year. And then it leads into a very sweeping turn 10. The speed is building all the way through here, back onto the asphalt for the final corner, turn 11, and that takes us to complete a lap here at Toronto. It's fast, it's bumpy, and always wild.
That video was shot on Friday when there was nothing but blue skies overhead. We have some blue skies right now, but we're moving things along to make sure we get the race in case it rains again. Another break coming up. Marco Andretti, there's Ryan Hunter-Reay, all strapped in, ready to go. Stay with us. Back at Toronto, there's a beautiful view down on Exhibition Place. A key part of Toronto's preparations for next year's Pan American Games, which will take place just about this time in 2015. So some negotiations are taking place in order to see when this race can unfold. You heard Paul Tracy say earlier, Mayor Rob Ford is in support of the race. He'll make sure it happens, and that's great news for the fans. As you can see now, gray skies out there over Lake Ontario. The command to start engines has already been given. Let's get down to the pit lane and Kevin Lee.
Well, we like to qualify, but the great thing about it when we don't is all the big dogs are starting up front. By entrant point, the championship leader, Helio Castroneves. Next to him, his teammate, Will Power. We've learned no team orders within Team Penske. They'll race, Marty.
Kevin, I talked to Ryan Hunter-Reay moments ago, and he told me that he and Tony Kanaan did have a conversation at driver introductions, but they don't see eye to eye about their race 1 accident. He said he could have given me more room, but Hunter-Reay told me I've got to put that out of my head. I have to focus on the championship because I can't let that bother me. The accident is so fresh. I'm still mad about it, but I've got to let it go or it's going to affect our championship run. Kelly?
Marty, Sebastian Bourdais got his first win since returning from Formula One earlier today, but that was starting from pole. For race 2, he's back here in the 10th position, and we could see the Frenchman employ an alternative strategy, perhaps making 2 stops to get back to victory lane, Robin.
I'll tell you what, Kelly, Joseph Newgarden got speared in the very first race. He came in under the red flag, changed the right rear suspension. He charged through the field from last to 11th. He was going for 10th when he hit the wall, knocked him out again, knocked the suspension out. They had to rebuild the car a second time, and the crew's a little bit winded, so they wanted him to make about 20 laps without hitting anybody.
Or being hit in your case, Robin. I thought we had the best seats in the house. I like where you're standing just fine. See the cars on track. Time now to look once again at our Mother's Polish starting grid. Again, set on entrance points. That puts Helio Castroneves and Will Power, title rivals, on row 1.
Going back to row 2, this is going to be really interesting. You got Simon Pagenaud with a charging result in race 1, and Ryan Hunter-Reay looking to make up lost points from that earlier incident.
Row 3, we have Juan Pablo Montoya, who did not have a good race this morning. He needs to rebound and get back in the fight. And Carlos Munoz on the outside of him.
Back on row 4, Scott Dixon, who swept both ends of this race weekend a year ago, still looking for his first win of the season. He'll start next to Marco Andretti, who was toward the back in race 1. He moves up in race 2.
And then moving back to row 5, Tony Kanaan. Strong run earlier in Sebastian Bourdais, fastest guy on the track in race 1. How does he work his way to the front?
We have Mike Conway, which this is a blessing for him. This is the best spot he's been in all weekend. And Ryan Briscoe also looking to rebound and have a good race.
Back on row 7, we'll have the mayor of Hinchtown, James Hinchcliffe, who would desperately love to score a podium for his countrymen here in his home race. Next to him, the Russian rookie, Mikhail Aloshin.
And then in row 8, Justin Wilson driving for Dale Coyne, who we learned about earlier, and Charlie Kimball.
And we have Newgarden, who had damage this morning and rebounded and then damage in the race. And Jack Hawksworth on the outside of him.
Back on row 10, Graham Rahal will start alongside the winner of race 1 in Houston a few weeks back, Carlos Huertas.
And then row 11, Sebastian Saavedra looking to recover from a tough first race, and Takuma Sato, yet another DNF. He leads, or is actually the driver's completed the least number of laps this season.
And the guy who rounds out the last row is Luca Filippi, who's only done 2 races this year and is last in the points, but look for him to move up. He's been ultra quick all weekend.
Now let's take a look at our onboard camera lineup. The National Guard camera will be aboard the Rahal Letterman Lanigan racing machine of Graham Rahal. The United Fiber and Data on board will be carried by James Hinchcliffe. Our friends from Verizon will have a camera aboard Ryan Briscoe's car. Here's Elio Castroneves with our Chevy onboard camera. Our thanks to them. Simon Pagenaud in the bright orange Oculus car will be carrying our Lucas Oil onboard camera. And Joseph Newgarden will carry our Verizon streaming camera. Remember to download the IndyCar 14 app. Visit verizon.com/IndyCar, the App Store or Google Play, and you can ride along with Joseph Newgarden. Verizon and IndyCar, driving technology. Now, as our field made their way through at the end of the first pace lap, you saw the drivers separated into 2 neat columns and lay down a little rubber. The reason they're doing that, they want to make sure they have the optimum grip in this standing start.
Look at Will Power warming his tires up. If I'm him, I don't want to strike right now on the first lap into turn 3 and try to gain those points back. You can't change the way you've been driving all year as we wait for the lights.
And Simon Pagenaud in that Honda, great drivability we know. Can he get inside power for turn 1?
And the pit crew's coaching the driver. Watch the lights. They'll come on, a series of 5 reds in sequence. When they go out, the race will begin.
Not sure where Philippi's lined up back there.
Probably hanging back just to play it safe.
Up come the revs, the race is on. Castroneves and Power lead away, and look at that move by Simon Pagenaud in the orange car to the inside into 1. Looks like we have a car still on the grid, believed to be Justin Wilson. Meanwhile, the field streams out to Lakeshore Boulevard.
And everybody in the top 10 on the push to pass button going to use all the power available coming to turn 3.
4 wide at the end of the back straightaway. See how this works into turn 3. Those guys getting pushed out into the tires.
Tony Kanaan.
Let's see how they get through the kink now going left. Everybody makes it through.
Lost power. He's asking for a start.
Understand Justin Wilson. There he is, back underway.
Yep. Boy, the sky is darkening quickly.
Yellow flag.
And we've got a full course caution.
Full course yellow.
Hopefully Tony can get a truck there. I believe there's a truck in turn 3. We'll get him started, and hopefully he won't lose a lap.
Hopefully it'll be a short one. For the second straight race, we have a full course caution on lap 1.
He'll be coming around pretty quick here, so he wants them there right away.
And he's asking where are they, meaning the safety officials. He just wants to get a push to get restarted. Here they come.
Yeah, the whole Matro safety team will be out there, but they have to wait till the racetrack is neutralized and they're dispatched by race control. Not what a driver wants to hear when he sees himself going a lap down.
It's like he had maybe a little bit of front lockup pushed wide as Kanaan was trying to run around the outside and just ran out of road there at the exit.
Here's a look at the standing start. Everybody getting away cleanly except that lonely Justin Wilson back there on the left. From on board, Simon Pagenaud's car.
He nailed this start. That was awesome.
Nailed that one. Perfect traction. He even had to go across the paint and nearly got the first row. So that was a nice start by Pagenaud.
Look at Power come across his bow.
Welcome to the concrete.
That will definitely fire up an already pretty fiery Frenchman from that race 1 incident.
That's right. He told us after the race, I was driving with anger.
Yeah.
After getting turned on lap 1.
Well, Power and Pagenaud certainly have a history of conflict, and the way Power came zipping across his bow there, I know Power was probably trying to do the over-under on Castroneves, but Pagenaud was right there.
Pits are open.
And what's going to happen with this weather, guys? I mean, it's getting a little bit darker here. If it starts to sprinkle, that's going to throw this thing wide open.
Yeah, I think Derek had a good point. As long as the cars are moving, that will keep, the tires are hot. It's going to keep a dry line a lot longer than the rain touching the track. So hopefully that will prolong any wet track.
And talking about conflict with Power and Pagenaud, let's just take a quick look back to Long Beach earlier this year where things kicked off. Power up the inside of Pagenaud. No penalty for Power.
That was the chrome horn.
And listen,
that one.
That little beeps there. And then we move on to Detroit, race 1. Here's Power and Pagenaud touching, and then the right-hander leading onto the back straightaway. Power drives him over.
That was the side horn, that one.
Can't really put that on Power. He had the position on the racing line. Kelly?
See Justin Wilson making a pit stop, getting off of those red tires that we saw go away so early in race 1. They've put on black tires. Sebastian Saavedra was also there. Now we see Tony Kanaan.
And no damage to the tires, so they're only coming in the top off, so maybe this might work out if he gets some clean racetrack.
He re-enters. Boy, talk about a great start. Luca Filippi, who was arguably a little bit over-aggressive on the first lap in this morning's race 1, led to the contact with Simon Pagenaud. He started 23rd in this race. He is up to 17th.
Be a little careful crossing those lines leaving the pits. It's against the rules to have four wheels over that line. So I've gotten a penalty for that in my career. So don't know how they're treating that under yellow, but you can't do that under green.
And all clear up front with Castroneves. He was so cool in the first race, and now that he's got the lead, we know he's fast. I mean, he was matched Bourdais pretty close lap for lap until he got held up there at the end with Saavedra a little bit. But his pace is strong. Going to want to make smart decisions like he did in race 1, and here we go.
Honda safety car is off. Castroneves will lead Power, Pagenaud, Hunter-Reay, and Montoya to the stripe. We're
inside down here.
back under green in Toronto.
Let's see what kind of exit Pagenaud and Hunter-Reay can get here off of turn 1 as Bourdais goes to the inside.
He's on the charge.
Castroneves is on the button. Power on the button.
They'll have 10 push-to-pass efforts of up to 15 seconds in the race.
Hunter-Reay looking outside. Hinchcliffe further back looking outside. Everybody through nice and clean. So let's get this race going and have a good race.
Hinchcliffe and Briscoe further back. We're side by side there.
65-lap race with rain looming. I wonder how many teams are looking at the radar and saying you better get all you can right now.
Montoya looking racy, had a bad race, first race. He's right there with Ryan Hunter-Reay in 5th place, so a good day for him.
Here he is in the yellow DHL car.
And Montoya in that white Hawk car really lost the balance as the race went on. He already looks loose, guys, to me, coming through that final corner on the reds. And remember, those red tires already used up. They didn't start new. Kelly?
As if the teams didn't have enough to do in that short break, they actually had to make an engine change in Juan Pablo Montoya's car. They mileaged out the engine in race 1, so that was a change they had planned to do overnight if the race had gone on yesterday. John Bostock told me this is really a worst-case scenario because they don't have any data, including fuel mileage on this engine, and so basically you're watching the install laps here for Juan Pablo Montoya.
So we saw Hinchcliffe make a move on his teammate Marco Andretti to gain 1 position. He's moving forward now up with that lead group.
Hinchcliffe goes to 9th with that pass, now working to catch up a little bit to Bourdais, the tail end of that lead pack.
So we've heard that Sebastian's going to pit as early as lap 9, 10 and go off sequence. So,
well, that's, you know, that's what they thought. Now, keep in mind, we had a yellow there, so as those 2 or 3 yellow laps help the fuel mileage, we'll see if that strategy changes. Let's go back and look at that pass with Hinchcliffe on Marco. Gets a big run here onto Shoreline.
Textbook pass, nice and easy. Marco tried on the outside, but really wasn't on, so he gave the position to him.
That is such a tricky corner, turn 3.
It's tricky, and it's also so inviting, Bob. You get a good run coming on the back straightaway, and your eyes get really big.
You see Scott Dixon working over Munoz. Want to displace him as quickly as possible. He's very good drive. Oh, Pagenaud runs wide.
Off pace. Got a problem.
Let's listen.
His dashboard is flashing, so there's some electrical problem.
Temperature is high. What do we do? Power cycling.
So power cycle literally means reboot. So he's going to reach up with his left hand, go for the main ignition switch. There it is. He's going to go all the way down and try to cycle the whole system to see if he can reboot. And he just cut the power to our in-car camera with that move. And he also bypassed pit entry there. And if it did refire, he'd want to stay on the track. But if it doesn't, he's going to be limping down the front straightaway. It looks like he's back under the power. It's hard to tell.
Well,
now, when you go, Townsend, I haven't driven these cars. When you go into overheat mode, does it go into like a limp mode?
Well, it could be sensor related or it could be true temperature related, but perhaps Marty can add.
And guys, he said, I think the engine is gone. It just does not come up to power. Rob Edwards said, I think it's the exhaust. So they're going to try and limp it back to pit road, but it does not sound at full song or even close to it. When he came by pit road, he's asking now, what do you want me to do? I'm not sure I can drive it back to the pits, guys.
Yeah, I think he may be right. He looked like he tried to get to the pit lane, but there was so much traffic to his right in this corner that he couldn't get there.
Meantime, we got Ryan Hunter-Reay just being hounded by Juan Pablo Montoya.
Suddenly, Montoya, the Pocono winner, has come alive. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Battery Tender, proud sponsor of Graham Rahal. Become a part of the race at racetogive2014.com. And by National Guard, become a citizen soldier. Learn more at nationalguard.com. Back on the streets of Toronto, race 2 in this doubleheader weekend at the Honda Indy Toronto. We're on board with James Hinchcliffe running in 7th place. That's race 1 winner Sebastian Bourdais just ahead.
He's working him over, Bob. He really wants to be on the move in this second race for the hometown crowd. He's moved up a couple of positions.
During the commercial nonstop, excuse me, Paul, you saw Juan Pablo Montoya get around Ryan Hunter-Reay for 3rd.
One of the things Sebastian Bourdais told me earlier was that when you're running in traffic on the reds, because of the downforce loss of running in turbulent air, you chew those red tires up at a quicker rate. I did not expect to see him under this much pressure from Hinchcliffe.
Kevin, did we hear that Bourdais was asked to pit and he declined?
He was, as Townsend said. The original plan was to come in around lap 7, but they picked up a couple of spots, then one more when Simon Pagenaud fell back in the early going. They did tell him just now to come in. He said, no, everything's good. They're on a set of reds with 8 laps of tires, so they're really concerned how these tires will be at the end of this stint. But for now, they're going to go hard. But right now, they're not saving enough fuel to make it a one-stop race, so they're still probably on a 2-stop strategy.
Remember in qualifying, Kevin, when Sebastian Bourdais questioned the decision to come in during his qualifying run, he's overruled in this case. We'll see if it pays off.
We're seeing a few drops of water on James Hinchcliffe's onboard camera.
And if it does start to rain, that would be good reason to stay out, right,
yeah,
Paul? Because if you
that
pitted,
was probably why he can maybe see some rain on his visor.
Right.
If it does start to rain, somebody, in most likelihood, will spin and cause a yellow, and then you're going to need it to come in anyway. So probably a smart move there. It's not always the smartest move to question your pit crew, because they're they're calling the strategy. Yeah, I tried not to do that,
You
but
want to come on slick? Nobody's come yet.
So that's already the call from James Hinchcliffe's pit saying, hey, it's up to you, bud. When you're ready, or sorry, that was Bourdais apparently. When you're ready, come in. It's your call when to come off slicks.
It's hard to tell in all this traffic what everybody's true speed is.
yeah, you see, the problem is he's stuck in this traffic.
It's
And
starting to rain, bud. It's starting to rain. If you want to follow those guys and go one more lap or come down. Some guys are laid out. If you want to come now, let's come now. Let's do it.
oh, car on the tires.
And one Pablo Montoya's in the tire wall.
And it's wet down.
Oh!
It is wet.
Michaela Lotion gets in heavy into the back of Montoya.
Yep, the track is wet.
It's got to be. You need to get that car off of Lotion's.
Yeah, the right rear is definitely not in a good location. Let's hope Mikhail is all right there. And further up.
Well, there's the downside of waiting too long. And that's Hinchcliffe.
On the wall up there.
Wants to get pushed out in a hurry, but there's more urgent things to do with that car right on top of the cockpit.
And they're in there. They're going to try to talk to Mikhail. Let them know they're going to try to get that off as soon as they can.
They're actually going to try to do it by lifting it with manpower.
They have to.
Yep.
That's a scary situation because there's really nothing you can do until the safety truck gets there and the tow truck. Here's the tow truck now to get the hook.
Hinchcliffe probably doesn't know what's going on behind him. He's still begging them to get him out there and get him restarted.
Yeah, but there is a priority here.
Yep.
So here's Montoya asking to be refired. He's got his hands in the air. He gets clipped by Hinchcliffe, who loses it. Bourdais goes off. And then shortly thereafter, here's a Lotion, comes in hard. And just augers underneath.
It looked like he took a frontal impact with the helmet, like maybe the tire landed on top of his head, but it looked like his helmet was to the side of it.
Total speculation, but just reading the body language of the safety workers, it seemed like there was a conversation perhaps there, but I'm just speculating.
They got the car moved. Yep, there he is.
Now you've got the best guys in the business here in the world in auto racing looking after these drivers, the Maltro safety crew.
Oh, there's no question about that, Paul. It's a welcome sight, as any driver would tell you. Marty?
And some good news, guys. I did talk to the team just now, and Michaela Lotion has talked to the team as we watch another angle of what happened, and they said that he is okay. He has told the team he is okay inside the car, so certainly a relief for everybody down here.
Huge relief. Thanks, Marty.
So often we see that signage, that conveyor belt sort of affair across the tire barriers. It's wrapped around wheels and so on. Riding with James Hinchcliffe now. Bourdais ahead. He goes straight on.
There was just a slight film of water on the track, and it was like driving on ice.
Well,
right
and
there.
in those situations, you're always referencing the guy in front of you. So it's a lot like an aerobatic team. If there's an issue, the guys behind are just following off
you follow the guy into the tire barrier, right?
And Pablo Montoya staying in the car.
He wants to get going again.
Okay, treaded rain tires now on Simon Pagenaud's car.
Clearly, they've fixed whatever gremlin they were dealing with.
Earlier.
Yeah. I would assume they fix it. Let's see how it runs here. Going up through the gears on the back straightaway.
Problem with the rain tires now, Townsend, is it's not really wet enough for rain, so you'll just eat those things within a couple of laps, and you get that film on the track, and it's ultra slippery.
To Marty.
Will Power hits pit road, guys. You can see the rain tires going on for him. Real quick on Simon Pagenaud, the problem is not fixed. They'll bring him back to pit road. Kevin?
Scott Dixon was running in the second position. Will Power beat him out also to the rain tires. Tony Kanaan coming in, one of those that did not. Sebastian Bourdais and Jimmy Vasser have been debating. Sebastian says, I think it's okay to stay on slicks, so they're going to chance it right now.
Wow. I wonder if anybody's looked at the radar. seen what the chances are that this rain is going to get heavier instead of lighter.
If it's got slight film on the track, I'm not sure the rain tires have any more grip than the slicks, right?
No, and you'll just, down the straightaway, you'll just shred them apart, with the camber and the toe in these cars, and, the speed down the back straightaway with a dry track, you'll just shred the tire to pieces.
Looks like they're going to take the engine cover off of James Hinchcliffe's car.
Well, we know they have left rear damage from the impact.
Oh, they may just do a wing change.
Yeah, he
knocked Montoya.
Knocked the back.
The wishbone here, if you can look right down here,
yeah,
you'll see the kink in the wishbone, and that's going to have to be fixed.
I think they just noticed it.
That might just be the tow rod.
Well, work continues. The IndyCar official looks in. There are your top 5. We'll take a break and return to the streets of Toronto. Wet again.
Michael Aloshin's car being towed back in, but we are happy that he has walked all the way back to the pit stall, and he is checking out his helmet that literally has a tire mark on top of it. Boy, what happened?
Well, the rain started very fast and sudden, and well, basically I realized that only when I started to brake and into turn 8, and I locked the tires and I just smacked the other car. And I end up under the car, so that was not such a great feeling at all. So I'm sorry for my spectators and all the guys who support me, but unfortunately that's life, and I think that the most important thing that everything is fine. I'm not hurt, and yeah, so it's all be good next time.
Let's take a look at your helmet, because the car was literally sitting on top of your helmet.
Yeah, if you can see, I mean, you have some marks here on the helmet, and it was not nice at all, because I was sitting under the car, and it was so hot, it was getting so much hot from this car, I couldn't breathe at all, even, because, the car is very hot. So I was just sitting under this car, and yeah, it was impossible to breathe, and it was not nice feeling at all.
He told me it wasn't so much the weight of the car, which certainly was an issue. He said it was a heat coming off of the car that really took his breath away physically inside the car. Sam Schmidt apologized when he came back. He said, "We tried to warn you, the rain was coming quick. We had no idea that would happen." Kevin?
Joseph Newgarden and Sebastian Bourdais are still out there on the Firestone slick. Sebastian Bourdais made the call to stay out. He wanted to gamble to try to jump up to the front, but he just radioed in to Jimmy Vasser and the team. "I regret my decision now. It's getting very wet." Roger Penske told his driver, Helio Castroneves, who is third on wets, to be very careful of those two. If they don't come in, watch for them when we go back to start, because they're going to be sliding all over.
Sebastian Bourdais still on those slick red stripes.
Was it any worse over there this time by? No, it seems to be getting a little better right now.
Interesting. Jimmy Vasser asking Sebastian Bourdais, what's it like on the other side of the track? And we know this little weather cell that moved in here was small, Paul. It looks like it's going to pass through and potentially clear up, but Bourdais could hang on. Let's take a look at the radar. If he could hang on, then he'd be sitting pretty for another great result.
Yeah, as we see the rain that's coming through, like you said, if he can keep it on the track and not end up going down the runoff and weather the storm for a couple of laps.
I mean, we're right here, and then there's this big hole of clear sky.
These tires will move this water. It's getting pretty wet now, though.
And look at all the heat that's in the surface that's helping to burn off the moisture.
That could dry out quickly. If Bourdais can keep it on the track and not have to pit, this could be an advantage.
Well, that's interesting. We didn't get that much direct sunlight, but the asphalt out there on Lakeshore Boulevard certainly is hot. Keep in mind, it's also very humid here in Toronto right now. So hit the fog lights on the safety car. We'll take a break and return to the streets of Toronto. High above Exhibition Place, looking down on the streets of Toronto, you see the field preparing for a restart. The Verizon IndyCar Series continues on NBCSN. Join us Saturday, August 3rd at 3 o'clock Eastern for the Honda Indy 200 at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, right here on NBCSN. A track that's considerably smoother in the streets of Toronto. And again, a tip of the hat to all the fans who have sat through one rain shower after another in order to catch 2 races on the Verizon IndyCar Series. Honda safety car pulls off. Now, Sebastian Bourdais is going to have to be very, very careful here as we go green.
How about Joseph Newgarden? He's got to be careful too, coming down to turn 1 as the guinea pig to see where the grip is.
Well, Bourdais left a gap, and he turns in on Castroneves there, who's on the rain tires. And this is going to be the tricky spot, is getting out onto the back straight.
Look at the jump that Joseph Newgarden got as we see Simon Pagenaud still struggling with engine issues. We talk about Bourdais could have another great day, but Newgarden off to a great run, and this is where it's slick.
This is about the wettest part of the track.
Bourdais makes it safely around. Like you said, the problem area is 3, 5, 6 is where most of the water is on the track. If we get these cars running for a few laps, a dry line might appear with these cars, and then Bourdais and Newgarden would be in the catbird seat.
They just have to hang in here, stay out of trouble like Bourdais trying here on the outside.
Yes.
Oh, it's tiptoe through there for Bourdais.
Here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay.
That's tough to go too wide through there.
Oh, boy.
Just hang on, Sebastian. You know, these guys are on range. Just keep it going.
All these guys will have to pit as you see Hunter-Reay dive for pit lane. Mike Conway goes for pit lane.
Now, because wets are going on the cars, the red versus black tire requirement is no longer in effect.
He's going to come in for dries off of rains.
Marty?
So I'm the only guy that took it?
Oh, we had a black flag.
Wow.
A drive-through. Same for Mike Conway. Did they hit the pits for the tire change before they were open? This place looks pretty dry.
Bob, that's what happened. Only one car actually made it to pit road before pit road was closed. That was Helio Castroneves. Ryan Hunter-Reay was committed at that point, really couldn't get off of his line, so they just had to take the penalty, which is a pass-through right now.
Boy, it seems like even if you have the rain tires on, you really have to tiptoe, Paul. And the rain seems to be dropping heavier now all through that section.
Yeah,
so this is really going to make it tough.
As we see. Bourdais getting ready to come in. He's giving it up. There's rain now as we're getting some vapor trails, and it's really raining now. So.
And now Newgarden being swallowed up by Helio. Munoz is back. Andretti looking to come through. Will Power. And Newgarden stays out.
Staying out there, hanging tough on slicks. Hey, he's going to lose it.
Down he goes. Same place Will Power did yesterday.
All right, hold on right there.
Sarah Fisher looking at some more rear-end contact. That was
come in
light.
and go in the pit lane right there and loop and spin it around the pit wall and go in. Yeah, look at that. Ooh,
going the wrong way on the track?
That's exactly what I would do.
Okay.
Hit the pit lane.
See if the officials thought of that. Usually going the wrong direction on the racetrack is a big no-no. Bourdais gets his Firestone reins. Newgarden, Kelly is there.
As you'd imagine now, getting those rain tires on, that he basically left it up to Joseph, and for a while he said it's wet but evaporating quickly, but obviously maybe went for one lap too long trying to stay out on those slick tires.
He was on the curb there
and
hit that paint on the curbs, and then the rear end just slid out on him, Townsend.
Good job by Marco not to get into him as he came across his bow. On the onboard.
You see he touched the curbs here, and then zoop, it went around on him.
And you hear him pin the throttle just to make sure that he doesn't stall the car as he's going backwards.
Oh, around goes Huertas. On. Juan Pablo Montoya almost got into him. Yikes.
That concrete patch at turn 8 is just ice.
Must be tough to pull that clutch in when you got the steering wheel going lock to lock, huh? When you're spinning.
Well, they technically should have an anti-stall where they go to neutral, but yeah, it can be a handful to try to get the back of the wheel.
Let's go to Marty.
And that was Marco Andretti coming through pit road. You see him leaving pit road right there on the bottom left of your screen. That was serving another penalty. All these guys tried to hit pit road as quick as they could. Some did not make it before IndyCar closed pit road, however, guys.
And we're racing in the rain, unlike yesterday.
I was just going to say, it's hard to remember we're under rain.
Whoa, there goes Sebastian Saavedra.
Spin that around and come back out. There you go, boy.
Careful not to do what Joseph Newgarden did. Was that this morning?
That was this
spun
morning.
The car,
yeah.
hit the end of the trackside wall there with his right rear.
I'm not sure I've seen cars go any slower than this, Paul, around this racetrack. It's as if they're under yellow.
See what happens to Carlos Huertas, the blue and white car moving alongside.
A nice little move on Saavedra and got in a little locked up and just slid it out on that concrete.
Oh, almost got into Philippi.
Just too much entry speed here, and those curbs really seem to set the cars off, Paul, in the wet, as we saw with Newgarden earlier. And there's that paint, of course, on the curbs. Zero traction.
You see Castroneves just always smooth, always consistent, never overdrives too much. This is actually he's a pretty good rain driver, so as Will is flanking him, we got Kanaan, who's right there now, who's made a good recovery.
Teammate Scott Dixon behind him.
Now we know that storm cell was passing through, and it looks like we've got a full course caution for debris from what we hear is on the front stretch.
Kanaan was in the tires on the first lap, and he's third now.
Yeah. There it is. Looks like a piece of a front wing. No, it might be one of the
that's a rear pod off
yeah.
Huertas. There it goes.
Doink. That's a pretty substantial piece of carbon fiber.
Those rear pods, of course, originally conceived to try to prevent one tire climbing over the other.
Well, Helio Castroneves leading the train. Boy, what an odd weekend it's been thus far, with all the twists and turns. And if it clears up again, everybody will be back in for dry tires.
Speaking of tires, Paul, what do you figure the pace car has on it today?
I think they might have changed them yesterday when we saw Ari spin in the pace car. He was not on DOT tires. He had drag slicks on that car so they could run this pace car at a good top speed to pace these cars around. So hopefully they change those for today.
Now while we wait for the pits to open, we'll take a break. It's that kind of slick here on the streets of Toronto. Helio Castroneves leads. Welcome back. Still under our third full course caution of the race. And as you can see, the streets of Toronto are slick. Helio Castroneves leads both the race and the points. Will Power, his main rival for the championship right now, runs second in both the order and the standings. Tony Kanaan and Scott Dixon third and fourth. Ryan Briscoe is fifth. And there is the Italian rookie Luca Filippi, with vast experience driving what the Europeans would call single-seaters, open-wheeled cars. And look at those stats. Started 23rd, currently runs 6th. He's the subject of our Mazda driver profile. Biggest mover in the race thus far, but we've got a long way to go. Scheduled for 65 laps or a time limit. We'll have to get to 33 laps to make it an official race. And while we have a moment, I'd like to remember a few members of the racing fraternity in very different capacities that we lost in the last week. Dr. John Melvin was a key player in some of the great safety advances in recent years, including the energy-absorbing safer barrier you see at oval tracks all over the country. We also lost actor James Garner, who was a team owner, star of the iconic John Frankenheimer movie Grand Prix, and a big fan of motorsports, and one of our own on the broadcast side. Gary Lee, one of the earliest pit reporters in the infancy of ESPN. There is Gary, plying his trade. Funny guy and a fine guy. Sadly, we lost him early this week. Looks like the rain might be easing just a little bit.
A couple of strategies in play here. One, Mike Hull is talking to Scott Dixon. He said, well, our radar is showing that it's going to stop raining in 10 to 15 minutes, so keep that in play. It's not necessarily just a total fuel save at this point. He said, help me with the dry line. We may eventually be changing to slicks at some point. On the other side of things is Sebastian Bourdais. They tried to stay out, gambled that they wouldn't need to go to the wets. They came in and took the rain tires, but they pitted 7 laps later than everyone else. This is likely now to be a timed race, so they might be able to stretch it and not pit again.
They might be able to stretch it, but guys, if it does dry up and you're on wet tires, as Paul said earlier, they're going to come apart, but I think we're going to go green right now.
Everybody on the button, and away they go.
Nice clean start by Castroneves.
Oh boy, this will bring you to the edge of your seat. Whenever there's water, oh, and there's a spin.
Jack Hawksworth.
He gets it going again. So
and let's see what the spray's like now on the back straightaway. Several laps of yellow. Visibility's going to be tough, not nearly as bad as it was yesterday.
Exactly.
And look at Philippi with a big run. Oh, we lost him there in the spray, but he was going to try to come up. There he is inside of Briscoe. And for a guy that simply needs to just get through a session without contact, he couldn't have more treacherous conditions.
Seems like the wettest part of the track is after this section around and they get onto the back straightaway. It seems like it's more wet over here than it is on the lakeshore. You can see the spray here is much heavier than it is on the front on the lakeshore.
It is.
And with fly-by-wire throttle, it gives you the ability, all these guys have the ability to make an adjustment to the way the throttle applies in the engine. So in the dry conditions, you'll run a dry map on the throttle, a more aggressive ramp up of fuel to the engine. In the rain, you'll want a much more spread out progressive fuel delivery as the throttle pedal goes down. That allows you to modulate wheel spin as you lay the power down.
Fly-by-wire throttle means there's no mechanical connection between the throttle pedal and the engine. Done by electric impulse.
Watch Graham Rahal out his rear view mirror with Hunter Ray following him. The spray is not so heavy on the back straightaway, so good racing now that we can do this in the rain and really get this race underway.
Graham Rahal picking the outside line here. Let's watch and see if he takes a rain line. He does. He wants to stay all the way off the concrete on the asphalt, rim shotting it through turn 3.
It also kept him out of that rooster tail of spray up ahead that allowed him a little more visibility.
And he's driving the go-kart style outside line. He's trying to stay off the rubber, off of the cement, and search for grip. It's dirty out there, but the dirt right now in the rain will give you some grip on the tires. So the spray here is much worse than it is on the other side of the track. As we see Graham, he's going to go for the outside out here, at least 10-15 feet away from the curb. So that's what you're seeing as Power looks to get by Castroneves.
Here, bud, just be smart.
Tim Cindric telling his man Will Power, be smart. You have to assume that Castroneves would be inclined to let him go here.
I don't know.
Conservative mode, yeah, he's 28 points ahead in the championship.
And there's Castroneves is on push to pass. They're both on push to pass, so no team orders.
Now,
but be smart.
Does Castroneves go inside or outside? He takes the outside line to go for more grip as opposed to the shorter distance. Bob, I was going to say, you know, letting him go, just not part of the racer's psyche typically.
Well, no.
But we've seen Castroneves take a conservative approach and think championship points in race 1, so your point is well taken.
I'd like to hear what Roger Penske is telling Helio Castroneves right now.
Well, we saw it at Pocono, absolutely no team orders. These guys are allowed to go at it just as hard, or if not harder, than they would against another car. And here's Tony Kanaan. Paul, he started out off track,
yeah,
first
he
lap.
was in the tires, first lap, worked his way all the way back through, got on the rain tires first of anybody, and now he's in a good position to, you know, he's been on the move the last 5 races. He's had such bad luck, but got a podium this morning, and he's knocking on the door for another one. As you see, Will Power trying every line he can to make a move on Castroneves.
So we have the 2 Ganassi cars chasing the 2 Penske cars.
It's been a while since we've seen that, Bob.
That's true, especially at the front.
Kanaan's closing the gap on these 2 guys.
talked earlier about the drivability of adjustable throttle controls. The other thing you'll see here is guys short shifting. What that means is not revving out the gear. Whoa, as we see Power looking inside, he's on that concrete patch, but there's the difference in grip. Look at how much quicker Castroneves came off the corner with Power inside on the slippery concrete. Marty?
You guys have heard the call over the radio to be smart here for Will Power. He also used a couple of overtakes. They also came over the radio and said, hey, be careful. Save those for later in the race. Let's be smart here. The other thing to keep in mind, the rain letting up. Just like Kevin talked about, Scott Dixon said earlier, letting up right now, so that could be very interesting as Hawksworth and Juan Montoya get together, fellas.
He's using that side horn a lot today.
And Montoya using that wide, wet line as well.
Yeah, the secret's out on the rain line now. You see most of the field finding the grip well off the concrete, out on that asphalt.
Well, you called it the go-kart line. Juan Pablo Montoya's son, Sebastian, just won the Rotax Minimax class at the U.S. Rotax Grand Nationals at Miller Motorsports Park. Taken after his old man at 9 years of age.
Hopefully we'll see him in an Indy car in a few years.
Start to see a little bit of a dry line forming, Bob, and you can hear the pace picking up on the back straightaway.
Yeah, you can definitely see that rain, the dry line is starting to form in the brake zone. The water's getting pushed away, but still ultra slick in the corners. All kinds of different lines being used. Now they're using more of a traditional line. So guys trying every possible way to get around the track.
As the line dries out, the rain tires will be less and less effective, more and more damaged. And then the real shootout at high noon begins. If you're going to switch back to slicks, when are you going to do it? Helio Castroneves leads. We return to Toronto in a moment. Welcome back to the streets of Toronto under another full course caution, our fourth of the race. As Luca Filippi got to this point on the racetrack and nosed into the tire wall. Could not get refired. They threw the caution, and we are just past halfway in this race. Now, because the rain has fallen and slowed the field, the race was scheduled for 65 laps, but also subject to an 80-minute time.
We're currently coming up on 50 minutes complete, which would leave about 31 minutes to go. And there you see the graphic, timed race at the top of the screen. So now, guys, what's the strategy? Do any of these guys have enough fuel to make it to the end, or do most of the leaders?
Well, it all really depends on how long the yellows last and how many more there's going to be.
Break, we heard that the rain has stopped in the pit lane. So things could get complicated here as we go forward from lap 34. The field lining up. Coming up on 30 minutes remaining. Next Sunday morning, don't forget, the Formula One Pirelli Hungarian Grand Prix is on CNBC. Team Mercedes on fire. Lewis Hamilton going for his third straight at the Hungaroring outside of beautiful Budapest, Hungary. Pirelli Hungarian Grand Prix next Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time on CNBC. After which, the Formula One community will take their traditional August summer break before returning for the classics at Spa and Monza.
Luca Filippi, who was the reason for the yellow. He was in the tires at the end of the back straightaway. He comes in and decides to pit and get enough fuel and fresh tires, which will give him a slight advantage, but not sure if he lost a lap under that. But these, fresh tires are always a help in the rain.
Let's get down to Kevin Lee.
Dario Franchitti is on the stand for the 10 car, his former car, with his friend Tony Kanaan. That's pretty impressive. All the way in the back, he's back up to third now.
Yeah, he's done a good job so far. He says the car feels pretty good. So hopeful Ganassi cars are up there, so it's going to be interesting. It looks pretty slippery out there, so rather them than me right now.
He said earlier today that you're telling him things that you never told him when you were teammates. You're giving away all the secrets now.
I'm giving away all the secrets now. Yeah, I told him most things, but I kept a couple of things back. But now I'm giving him all the info. But he's done a great job today. You know, the fuel saving in the first race with the pace he was running was so impressive. So made a lot of progress, and Scotty's doing a good job too.
Thanks, Dario. Tony Kanaan says I call him coach now.
Back to green. And with that, we're back on it with 28 minutes and 35 seconds remaining in this timed race.
And absolutely no spray coming up there on the front straight, Paul. This track's going to dry quickly.
Another nice restart from Castroneves. As we see a couple guys step out on entry. And TK now going to put Power under threat. He got a good run off the first corner.
And just 10 minutes ago, there was spray all the way down the back straightaway here.
That same engine heat that Mikhail Aloshin talked about while he was wedged underneath Juan Pablo Montoya's car right at that point on the racetrack is going to help dry this track quickly.
Tony looking again, was the wheel spinning up the hill. Power was, he's lost some ground to his teammate as Tony is climbing all over the back of Will Power's car.
Tony's biggest fan right now is Helio Castroneves on the race lead. So tricky back there.
That is a very fast section in the dry.
Tony's still running that go-kart style outside line. Power has gone back to a traditional line, and two varying thoughts on how to get around here. Castroneves still just controlling the pace, driving smooth, driving like he wants this championship, no mistakes.
Now keep in mind, even though we called it a time race, now that the speed is picking back up again, you see we've got 37 laps, making 36 laps complete, working 37. We could get to 65 laps and the race would end before we get to 80 minutes. So was that Graham Rahal looking for a way by on the inside?
Remember how aggressive Graham was at Houston, passing in the rain. He's having a look here, but tucks back in. And at this pace, guys, if there's not another yellow or yellows, certainly we're going to see another round of pit stops, I think.
Tough to pass now, Townsend, because there's almost a dry line formed in the brake zone down in 3, and if you get out of that dry line, you're not going to stop as well. So it's really tough to even try and make a move now.
Look at the visibility there. Still pretty damp in that back section. Let's ride with Graham. Short shifting here, grabbing gears early, trying to keep the power in that sort of tractor range of the power band as opposed to the peakiness. And there's Carlos Munoz going off in turn 8.
Graham right there. He'll try to make a move here and get a good drive off the corner.
Graham still has 9 push to pass opportunities left. Does not get on the button here. See him moving offline now, trying to cool his tires a little bit, so we're already starting to see a little bit of that dry line effect.
Coming up behind Graham is Takuma Sato, who crashed out, or was crashed out of race 1. On lap 1, he's always aggressive, especially on the brakes.
And he was phenomenal, Bob, at Houston in the rain. Passed 4 or 5 cars, took the lead, and ultimately got in a toss-up with Aloshin, but he's a real good rain driver.
That's what I'm thinking. Graham might be watching his mirrors a little bit. Up 13 places is Takuma Sato, racing for AJ Foyt.
Team's been talking a lot about luck here at AJ Foyt Racing, just trying to shake it off after those last few races. They went as far as taking a horseshoe from AJ's ranch in Texas, and they had it taped to the pit cart for race 1. Well, we saw how that went. So they removed the horseshoe, and hopefully they removed the bad luck. They went off strategy earlier just to get Sato some clean air to begin with. Right now, looking very strong for this AJ Foyt team.
And at this point, I see a dry line on the front stretch all the way through turn 2. It's still wet on the backside.
You can see them now, Townsend. They're getting into the wet part of the track to cool these tires down. So There is a dry line coming out of one, which is going to make it really tough to pass since there's a dry line in the brake zone to get by a guy. So we see Will Power trying to slice down the inside. His teammate chops the door on him.
The two Ganassi cars in red right there.
So now the game is who wants to be the first to hit pit lane for dry tires.
1-3 on the straights, 1-3.
I would think very soon we're going to see somebody take a dive and take a gamble on it.
How much alternate line still. Tony taking a different line than Castroneves and Power.
A little bit of a lurch there from Power.
Seems to me like when you watch the two varying driving styles of these guys, Castroneves is really smooth and precise, and Will Power is more aggressive, and he chops at the throttle more and steps it out more, and they're both right on each other, but it can definitely jump away from you like it did on Power yesterday when they tried to run in the rain. When you stab at the throttle, you can snap that back end out.
See Scott Dixon go find some water to cool off those Firestone rains.
I was about to ask, are you surprised to see Castroneves and Power just going right down Broadway on the dry line?
Well, no. I mean, if they don't feel like they're struggling on the dry sections, then why go, add moisture to the tires right before the brake zone, theoretically. Right now, doesn't seem to be hurting him much.
Nope, pretty damp right now. Still not quite dry enough, or no one has dared to hit the pits for slicks. Oh, back live, the Penske teammates. Power trying to get by Helio Castroneves. There was light contact, but Power able to make the move.
That was a Power move, Townsend.
Well, you just made the point, Paul, before we went to break, that Power
Stay cool here, bud. Stay cool.
So often charges the corners, a very aggressive driving style.
As you heard Roger come on the radio to Castroneves and said, stay cool. He's got a points lead, so he doesn't need to get in a situation with Power. As you see Power jump to the outside, a little bit in the wet. He closes in on him here, and they touch right there. It could have been disaster.
Well, they touch because Power sort of goes for the inside of the corner while Castroneves is still well alongside.
It did look like he turned in a little bit, but got it done one way or the other. And that's a 20-point swing in the championship. There's 50 points for a victory, 40 for second. So you can do the math.
Now we'll see what kind of pace Power had in his pocket here as he has clean air out in front. Watching the lap times, they keep coming down as the track dries. That last lap, Power into the minute and 14. Everybody else, minute 16. So Power is flying.
Tony Kanaan offline and back on to try to get some cooling water on that treaded rain tire.
We see Briscoe teammates with Kimball. Kimball had a really good race in Houston in the rain and making moves today. He's up there as well.
His rain skills nicely honed racing in Europe for a while in the junior formulas before coming back to race Indy Lights.
We've got four Ganassi cars, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th.
And here we go, Paul. This is our first gambler.
Okay, Carlos Munoz, the rookie. He was 19th, so he comes in for the red striped slicks.
And why not? Dry line forming, and if the yellow comes out, everybody will pit. He'll cycle to the front.
Other teams are in the pit lane. See them upper left of your screen.
We see a lot of guys there with blowers on pit lane trying to dry the pit box.
Mike Conway.
Hardest part about taking these dries is just getting out onto the track and getting onto that dry line because it's wet all the way out here and to the apex of the first corner. Tires are cold, and you can easily slide right across the track and into the tire barrier.
Yeah,
no question.
No tire warmers in IndyCar racing. They're the blowers that Townsend mentioned.
And of course, once you get through turn 1, you go into a really fast section, turn 2, where you got to try to apply the power on cold tires all the way through that increasing radius corner. So we watch these guys duking out further back. Sebastian Bourdais working on Ryan Hunter-Ray. That's the battle for 10th.
Jack Hawksworth has gone off.
And Hinchcliffe.
lot of guys off down there.
Saavedra into the turn 3 tire wall.
I'll tell you what,
the full course caution.
The first guys to get the dries really got a break here.
This is exactly what we talked about. You take the gamble. Conway, Munoz, going to be sitting pretty here on dry tires if they can hang on while it's still wet in some sections.
Oh, there's that signage again, wrapped around the left front, Sebastian Saavedra's car.
Now with this many yellows and only 16:50 left to play, can anybody make it to the end on fuel?
I understand that Joseph Newgarden was strong on fuel.
4 cars off there in one corner, so something must have happened there because all of them were off at the same time.
Here comes the Honda safety car gathering up the field, now led by Will Power.
The thing now is these guys now have got an opportunity to cool these rain tires down, really drive in the wet part of the track.
A moment ago, this is the pit entry. Will Power's in the pit lane. The flag comes out.
Wow.
And that's a game saver right there, because if you pit under closed conditions, we saw what happened earlier with Hunter-Reay with the penalty.
And guys, Tim Cindric told him about 4 times on the radio, pits are closed, pits are closed, pits are closed. Will Power for the last 4 or 5 laps. So the track is getting close, meaning it's almost dry enough for those slick tires. So he wanted them, but clearly it didn't work out for them to get to pit road. Will Power, as you hear, will come to pit road. All these guys going to slick tires.
Here they come.
The race on pit road, this is going to be critical.
Mark, you have a clean in. You have a clean in here. Hit your mark.
Top 6, 7, 8 of the top 9. Go, Marty.
And the race off pit road should be fun here. Will Power's going to hit. He's going to take those softer red tires. Those are stickery red tires for Will Power going on. And enough fuel, a short fill, Kevin.
Leo Castroneves also on. He's going to the red tires. Power is going to beat him easily. Then it's Castroneves, Tony Kanaan, and then a race between the two Ganassis, and Briscoe gets right in front of his teammate.
Something really interesting that happened there, Bob. Justin Wilson did not pit, stayed out on wets, goes to the lead. Does that mean he's going to try to stretch his fuel to the end? You're going to see a restart with him on wets. And Newgarden on wets.
Bobby.
Montoya on wets.
Go ahead, Robin.
Bobby, Joseph Newgarden's guys, I said, why don't you bring him in? He ran so good on the slicks. And they said, because we've got more fuel than anybody. We think we can make it to the end without stopping. They didn't necessarily want to see a yellow, but now he's sitting second, and he's looking pretty good. He gets one more yellow behind him to slow the guys down with slicks. He could steal this race.
Yes, he could, and he's saving fuel as long as he's behind the safety car. So they might be feeling better and better about their situation at the Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing operation. We'll take a break and return to Toronto. Welcome back to the streets of Toronto. Looks a bit foggy and damp there, but there is a definite dry line. You can see it from above Exhibition Place. Right now, Justin Wilson, Joseph Newgarden, and our Houston Race 1 winner, Carlos Huertas, are up in the top 3 positions.
We see Pagenaud duck in. He's several laps down. Guys, Toronto has given us absolutely everything you could possibly imagine for an IndyCar weekend, and it's not over. We're going to see guys on wet tires with low fuel, guys on dry tires, a track that is partially dry, partially wet.
I think Dale Coyne is going to pull another cat out of the bag here with this call he's made, being a timed race, staying out on these wet tires. They're going to keep that car on that dry line and make these guys on the slicks pass him on the wet part of the track, which is hard to do.
And it's not just Justin Wilson, it's his teammate Carlos Huertas who won in Houston, sitting 3rd, and I think Kelly's got an update on the Coyne situation.
Well, I just checked in with Dale Coyne, and he told me that they are good to go on fuel, so this is really just a strategy call, but he said he'd love to have a couple cautions because he knows all those guys on slick tires are going to be coming after him like a pack of wolves, so they're hoping for some yellows, but just decided to go for the strategy. I mean, we remember how this played out in Houston when Carlos Huertas won with strategy call.
And even though you have wet tires, you're going to want to drive the dry line to force those slick tire guys to go offline in the wet.
Carlos Huertas, part of a great rookie class in this 2014 Verizon IndyCar season. A victory. All of the rookies have been on at least one podium, but Huertas picked up the win using Dale Coyne's strategy in race 1 at Houston. He's the subject of this Mazda driver profile. Speaking of Huertas and Montoya, 4 Colombian drivers in the series, and I saw a lot of Colombian fans and yellow T-shirts in the grandstand. These guys have got quite a little fan club following them around the country.
This is going to be awesome.
2 countries.
Power's got 5 guys here in front of him with nothing to lose. So he's got to be ultra smart here because all these guys on the reins have 0 to lose and everything to gain.
They're all bunched up. We've got the green flag, and already it looks like Mike Conway looking for a move around Luca Filippi. Down into 1.
Castroneves inside of Tony Kanaan.
Wow.
And Kanaan has a great run onto the back stretch. Look at Conway all over Huertas.
Still on the attack.
And our screen is all green with push to pass.
Kanaan looking at Power. He's got power.
Here comes Sato, a little crossed up there, up inside Kimball.
You can see how hard it is to put the Power down with those slick tires. It's still very slippery as we see Power's being attacked by Castroneves now. They touch again.
It's not as slippery as I expected, though, on slicks for the first lap, so these guys are going to be coming hard now with those leaders on reins.
Kanaan's your first guy on slicks here, so if he can pull this off, he's been on the move the last few weeks.
And PT, Conway's the first guy on slicks, brother. He snuck in here before anybody else did.
And Conway, who's had a horrid time the last several street races, finding the balance. And we see Wilson drift all the way out to the wall. Conway's going to be on a charge here. This should be the last corner that Newgarden can hold him off as we see Kanaan go to the inside of Filippi and Will Power trying to follow through.
Look at the clock at the top of the screen coming up on 8 minutes remaining. It will be a timed race at the end.
Carlos Huertas was hung out like Paul Tracy in a super truck there coming through turn 2.
See Kanaan in that wet line, but he's got the preferred spot now, so
sort it out, sort it out. And again, Power.
Sato into the side of Bourdais.
He stalled, I think.
Side horned him.
That will bring out a full course caution.
Yeah, he's stalled unless they can pull him around right there and keep it going green, which would be great. Like,
God, the amount of traction loss with the wet tires and the dry. Those
Conway's
guys are
taking the lead. He's out in the lead now.
By Justin Wilson.
Ed Carpenter's team could pull this one out of the bag.
Kimball right on the back of Ryan Briscoe for 8th.
About 7 to go.
He's gone.
Look at Conway disappear.
Here comes Kanaan.
Newgarden.
And Newgarden is just, at this point, he is so wounded with those tires. Look at the action further back. Filippi on wets.
What has happened to Castroneves? He's losing positions.
Huertas sideways through that corner. There's Briscoe on the attack, going alongside his teammate Charlie Kimball. Now he tucks in behind that green car.
Traffic jam.
Oh, and around goes Huertas.
And Castroneves loses his front wing.
And Hunter Ray with front wing damage.
Scott Dixon manages to pull away. Marco Andretti is there.
Oh, for Hunter Ray, the championship penalties today have been wicked.
Carlos Munoz. There's Will Power. He made it through.
Kanaan still runs third. This yellow for Justin Wilson is a life preserver.
Wow. We'll be able to get this cleaned up in time. Coming up on 6 minutes remaining. Hunter Ray is just begging for someone to get him rolling.
Basically, it was a traffic jam at the end of the Lakeshore Boulevard. We had cars 3-4 wide getting into the rain section of the track, guys locking up and touching and banging, and everybody just piling into each other.
It was Huertas and Kimball, that initial contact, and like race 1, down there in Calamity Corner, nowhere for anybody else to go.
Hinchcliffe stuck back there, so another disastrous weekend in Toronto for him.
Here we are on board with Briscoe. That's Huertas up ahead.
He's
Watch
just
Kimball.
He's boxed in, nowhere to go, and just really a victim of what happened in front of him.
And Kimball went to the outside, but Huertas on those old rain tires, so much less grip on that dry line, he just couldn't get turned.
Right.
Kimball just sliced around the outside. He's going to have another good day.
This is always the game, too. You got 6 stalled cars. It's always a battle to see who can get restarted first. And now we understand we're going to go red flag.
Now, meanwhile, there's Graham Rahal somewhere else on track.
Well, this is a good call, I think. They did this in Houston. They stopped the race. They don't want it to end under yellow. Give these guys at least an opportunity for a green-white checker with the time clock.
There's debris to the left of the car as we look at it. Rahal got into the wall. There's Ed Carpenter, his man Mike Conway in position to win this race as of right now.
Not sure how you have a red flag in a timed race, but we're having one.
Yet another page we're going to add to the rule book this weekend.
AJ Foyt is learning something else
We'll
new.
have to tow you to the pit.
Tow you to the pits. Must be something serious.
4 minutes to go. They'll tow him to the runoff area now, so they're not going to waste any more time towing. I wouldn't think to tow him all the way back to the pits. Munoz is getting started here. Pretty much everybody is gone now from the crash site. They'll clean up any bits of carbon fiber laying around and get these guys going as it stalls again. Clean up this section. It looks like we're going to have a Sunday afternoon shootout in Toronto, Townsend.
It's going to be quick. Gets out, so that car will need to be recovered.
And no apparent damage to Rahal's car. It just looks like it might have flat shut off. Kelly, do you know what happened?
Yeah, long before that incident, Graham was on the radio saying first that the car would not accelerate. He said something broke, I don't know what it is, and then it wouldn't shift. They told him to go in emergency mode, so this had nothing to do with the incident. Graham was having troubles before that red flag came out.
Similar to Simon Pagenaud's trouble earlier on, also a Honda. Don't know if that might be a related incident. We see Graham running. I'm not sure. He's in a hurry to get somewhere. I know Hinch has got a party. Maybe he wants to get changed or go to the restroom.
Probably called in for the G6 to get fired up, get back to Ohio.
Well, we have the clock frozen at 4:32 remaining, breaking down the green and yellow flag time in this race. Well, yellow wins 38-17 to 37 minutes 10 seconds of green flag time. Not a happy stat, I must say. But it's been that kind of a day. Heck, it's been that kind of a weekend here on the streets of Toronto. Let's go to Kevin Lee and find out what Helio Castroneves is having for a problem.
Yeah, Helio dropped several positions right after that restart. Any issues with the car for Helio?
No, he was just trying to stay out of everybody's way, and of course got bounced around and then got collected a little bit in that last mess there. But we're fine, and we're running for the championship. Pagenaud's in the back and also the 28, so we need to do is finish this race where we are and say it's a good day and a good weekend.
You like the decision for the red flag and finish here under green if possible?
I think it's great for the fans, great for the sport. We'll see what happens. It's going to be fun.
Thank you, Roger Penske.
Well, there you see the field awaiting further instructions. And once again, pit strategy and some heady driving has set up a victory for Mike Conway, but it's not over yet. Let's have a look at the pass for the lead. Watch the upper left corner of your screen. Justin Wilson with the lead.
Not sure we're seeing
I'm not sure
Wilson
we're seeing the pass
there
for
in
the
the
lead, that
camera
all red
view,
car.
sort of mid-pack there.
Dead still with 4 minutes and 33
I believe that's Huertas in the blue car, Philippi in the black car. But either way, I don't think anybody expected to be sitting here on pit lane at the end with a red flag, but it is what it is, and it's going to go green.
Let's take another shot at it. There's Wilson in red and white. Conway dives underneath. That looked easy.
And you can see Wilson in what is normally a flat-out section on dries, sliding all the way through that kink.
Well, the crew all standing back. Can't work on the car under a red flag. We'll take a break and return for the last 4.5 minutes.
We're back at race 2 here in Toronto under the red flag with just a few minutes remaining. And for Graham Rahal, what a devastating end. You had a 6th place finish earlier today. You had made huge gains, and then the mechanical failure must be gutting.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I felt I was driving a pretty good race again, and went down the back straight. I had a run on Hunter A. I had just hit push to pass, and you know, went to pull 6th gear, and the car just, as you can see right there, just stopped. I mean, I don't know what happened, but something in the gearbox is broken. Well, at least that's my guess. It can't seem to find a gear. When I went through the accident scene there at the end, it went into it, you know, went into neutral. I couldn't get it back going. So really tough for these National Guard guys. I mean, we've been working our butts off, and you know, the luck, we just don't have any. So I don't know what I've done wrong, but in life, but something apparently. But it's going to end at some point, and I think you'll see us on the top 7 of the podium soon.
If there's any takeaway, they've shown some good speed here, Kevin.
Well, when Tony Kanaan went in the tires in the first lap, Chip Ganassi radioed and said, remember, Simon Pagenaud did 4 pit stops in the first race, and he finished 4th. Chip, your guy is running 3rd right now. Can he win this race?
Well, I think he can. I mean, that's why we came here.
I think he's got a good chance. How good of a chance do you think he has? One guy in front is on rain tires.
He seems pretty stout, you know, right on the restart. So we're looking forward to getting by the 19 there, and then, you know, that 20 might be a little harder to get by, but we'll see how many laps we have to go here.
You like the idea of the red flag and a chance for a green finish? Are you okay with the red flag situation here? Can't hear you. We'll allow him to duck that one in. It is tough to hear as the cars fire away.
All right, thanks very much, Kevin. There will be 1 lap, and away they'll go.
This is going to be a very interesting finish to this race. You have a guy who decided to quit IndyCars full-time because he didn't like the ovals and just wanted to do selected road course, street courses. And since that time, he's been able to get a few wins and really has been more successful than he ever was in IndyCars. You've got Wilson trying to bring it home and sneak a surprise good finish here on the rain still. And then you have Kanaan, who's been kicking down the door to get a win the last 4 weeks, and he's chomping at the bit to get it. So this could get interesting, Townsend.
And Will Power further back there. Been super aggressive the last few laps here before we went to that red flag situation. Remember, Conway's been totally feast or famine. It's either been sensational performances or they've been nowhere. And, you know, by some luck of strategy, they've ended up at the front. He looked awfully quick there before we stopped racing. So the Kanaan and Conway battle could be a great one.
I think it might be. I think Chip hit it right on the head. I can get by Justin Wilson, I think, but Conway might be a little bit tougher. First, you have to get by Wilson.
And poor Justin Wilson here, you know, got to do another 4 minutes just hanging on, trying to defend.
That little break might have cooled his tires a little bit, which is a help. So might be able to hang on to a couple of positions here. He might lose to Kanaan, and I think he might hang on for top 5.
Back inside of the main grandstands. Oh, Carlos Munoz having problems, but it looks like the green flag will wave. The clock will start. We are headed for the finish here in Toronto.
Kanaan really needed to get by Wilson at the start.
And that's Castroneves with wing damage. He's dropping heavy through the field with Hawksworth getting by easily.
Here's Kanaan on the attack on Justin Wilson. The clock started while the cars were making their final yellow flag lap. So now we have 2.25 minutes remaining. Kanaan gets by Wilson. Here comes Power.
And your championship leader, Castroneves, as Newgarden gets bumped wide. Castroneves with issues. Now Power has to be careful with the stack up coming with Justin Wilson running slow on the wets. He's got to make sure he can get through without a mistake.
Imagine what's going through Tony Kanaan's mind. He has led so many laps over the last 2 races, only to see victory slip from his grasp in the closing moments, particularly at Iowa a week ago, where he was passed with just 2 laps to go after dominating the race. Now he has a 3rd shot at a victory for Chip Ganassi, the first for that team this year, but Mike Conway is flying.
He's got 2 laps now with 1:30 to go to close this gap and make it happen. As we see, Will Power goes down the inside of Wilson, and Charlie Kimball's got the line.
He's going to try to get both of them.
Don't overtake behind you.
And Power was very careful to get by, but Charlie Kimball forcing Power to make his move.
White flag next time by. There go Conway and Kanaan. Here comes Power and Kimball, and then a clutch of 4 cars close together. Sato, Wilson. Lap cars in there.
And Jack Hawksworth really pushing hard up through the field. That pass on Wilson was for 6th.
Clear sailing for Conway. He's really got the bit between his teeth. He's got a nice gap. Possibility that he'll go 1 more lap. He won't get the white this time. So he's got to hang on here.
I think he is going to get, let's see. There it is, white flag, half a minute to go. The clock will expire on the final lap.
And that last lap, Mike Conway 103.1 to Kanaan's 103.5. So Conway is checking out.
Nice big gap to Kanaan, and all you can do is write it home for Kanaan here. No mistakes by Conway. He'll bring another victory to this Ed Carpenter Fuzzies team.
And look at Kimball all over the back of Power. Decides to tuck back in. Power, I'm sure, looking in his mirror saying, come on, baby, half a lap, I need these points.
And Kimball's got nothing to lose.
Nothing,
you know,
right.
Power's got a lot more to lose than Kimball, but how about this guy?
Conway, who has been so strong on the temporary circuit at Long Beach.
Nothing fuzzy about the way he's laying down these lap times. Man, he is flying. Opened up a bigger gap to Kanaan through those last few corners.
And he'll be all alone off the final corner facing the waving checkered flags. Victory for Mike Conway and Ed Carpenter Racing here in Toronto.
Will Power 3rd, and we'll see where Castroneves comes home for championship points. Don't see him yet. He could be in this group here. Yes. Castroneves is going to come home in 12th. So what does that do to our points?
Boy, we'll crunch the numbers and let you know.
And it looks like Castroneves will still maintain the lead. Marty?
Ed Carpenter, a happy man. Now, who gets the medal for the call on the tires? Is that you or is that Mike?
That's Mike. Mike, you know, he was out there on the track and he said he was ready for dries. You know, we probably thought it was a little early. So, you know, this one was definitely all him. He did a great job.
Were you worried when the red flag came out, though, that might give those guys behind you a shot?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I like it. You know, I think, you know, it worked out for us today. But, you know, the question is, how many times are you going to go red? You know, we don't seem to know what's going on a lot as competitors. We feel in the dark a lot. But it's a great day. Mike did a great job. Great for Fuzzies. You know, 3 wins for the team now. You know, Mike, I challenged Mike this morning. I said, I'm still ahead of you in points, and he run more races. So he just put a hurting on me there.
All right, he did put a hurting on him in the personal battle in between points. But you know what? That 20 car got to victory lane, and that's all that matters to Ed Carpenter, Bob.
That's right. Ed Carpenter hired Mike Conway to run the street and road courses, and you can see the genius behind that hire. 2 victories for him, 1 for the boss on an oval. These guys are rolling. We'll be back to Toronto. Back in Toronto, Mike Conway's celebratory donuts ended when the engine stalled. You see him being pushed toward victory lane. Behind him, Tony Kanaan has another podium finish, just not the step on that podium that he wanted. Here's Kevin.
Oh, and what a drive it was after trouble early from the back to the front, and you almost got there, but still got your best finish of the season.
Yeah, Kevin, we chose in the beginning of the race to run a rain setup because we knew the rain was coming. So on the last restart, I knew
I was a little bit of a sit duck, but I got to thank Target, Chevy. You know, I think it was 1, 2, 3 again. I don't know who finished third, but you know, it's been a great weekend. I made a bad mistake. I got too excited on the start. Typical one of my starts, but and I made a mistake, and I had to catch up because I didn't want to, you know, come back and look at Chip, and I hate when I make mistakes. So we made it up. The team made a great job doing the stops, and I got too excited there and got sideways. I don't know if the 34 kind of bumped me a bit. I really don't know, but it was a hell of a race, a good weekend, a third and a second. We're getting closer and closer.
Well, he's had some bad luck the last few weeks. A little bit of good luck today, and Tony Kanaan is certainly coming, Marty.
Will Power finishes third, and were you thinking championship there at the end? It seemed like Kanaan could be a little more aggressive than you were willing to be.
Yeah, Tony was very good on this half-wet track. I just wasn't willing after yesterday to take a big risk and get caught out again. So still had to battle hard there with Charlie all over me. But good day, typical IndyCar race. It throws everything at you, but you just got to survive, and that's what we did.
Considering the craziness of your weekend, you only leave here losing 4 points. Is that kind of like a win in these two races?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Obviously, every time you're gaining points, it's great. It's going to be a fight to the end, and man, I want it. I want it.
Still trails his teammate for the championship by just 13 points. Kelly Stavis, probably happy victory lane, isn't it?
I've got Mr. Toronto, as his team called him, Mike Conway, who picks up his 4th career win, his 2nd in 2014. And you can see he is exuberant. Mike, after the struggles the last few races and earlier this weekend, how much redemption do you get from this?
It feels so good. You know, it was really difficult conditions in the wet. We're kind of struggling out there for a bit, and then I knew as soon as I could see part of a dry line, I knew it was time to come in, and it was a great call. And the guys are up for it. I wasn't sure what they were going to say, so just great there. And then from there, we just took off and just controlled the race. A bit nervous with the red flag there, but I knew with Justin behind me, I knew I'd be able to cover it. So it was good. It's good fun out there.
The good call that you made, and the team has given you all the credit for going on to slicks early. How strong was the car at the end of the race? Tony Kanaan had nothing for you.
Yeah, no, it was really good. The tire temperatures came in really fast, and that's what you need in those types of conditions. So yeah, just could control it and not push too hard, and enjoy those last few laps.
Congratulations.
Congratulations indeed. Mike Conway started 11th. He was 19th, 20 laps into the race. But he comes to take the lead, leads 7 laps, pick up his 4th career victory. Congratulations to him. We'll step away and be right back. What a day in Toronto. 2 full points paying races, and they couldn't have been more different in terms of the weather and track conditions. It's the 2 in TO, and it has been fascinating. Here is the result, the unofficial results of race 2. Mike Conway picks up his 2nd victory of the season, 4th of his career. Tony Kanaan, a season best 2nd after 3 third-place finishes. Will Power, as you heard, minimizes the damage in the championship over the weekend. Good finish for Charlie Kimball. Takuma Sato has his best of the year. Jack Hawksworth, leading rookie in 6th, followed by Scott Dixon, Marco Andretti, Sebastian Bourdais, who won the opening race this morning, and Justin Wilson, who led with 2.5 minutes to go in the race. There's Helio Castroneves in 12th, Ryan Hunter-Reay in 14th. Both men remain in the top 4 in the championship. Let's hear from Helio now with Marty.
And Bob, I don't think he would have minded the race being a couple laps shorter. The broken left front wing, was that the issue at the end of the race? Because clearly you were dropping like a rock.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything. Unfortunately, the PPG car was on the rails on the dry. And even on the wet, we kind of managed. I had only, it's just amazing when you make just a small mistake, and unfortunately, we'll end up passing us. But until that point, we're looking good, looking fine, no problem. But towards the end, when you shove back with the other guys with the rain tires, I just got squeezed by the number 16 on the wall, and from there on, it's just people start driving. In the end of the straightaway, people stop. I just stopped, but people hit me on the back and then broke everything. So it's a shame, but we came here with 9 points. We're coming out with more for me, that's a plus.
That was some very tight racing with your teammate. You cool with how all that went down in the wet?
Yeah, he did a good job. He really braked on the outside and turned into me, and we hit. In fact, my hand came out of the steering wheel. But I would do the same thing. It's obviously a fighting for the lead, fighting for championship in that terms. I thought everything was safe, so it was a good race. It was fun, and it's like I said, it's a shame that we end up getting the worst of it.
And as he said, considering this crazy weekend, he comes out gaining 4 points. Not a bad weekend, Kevin.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay dropped to 4th in the championship after race 1, back up to 3rd, but that's the only good news we can talk about this day. Fast cars in both races, DNF, and then here, just bad luck and timing of the yellow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nothing really went right for us today. You know, the first race there with TK, you know, I was moving forward, and I knew I had to make something happen there with him on blacks and me on reds, and you know, it was just, we're fighting for every inch of real estate here, so it's really not his fault. I just put my nose in there. But as for this race, nothing went right at all. You know, we committed. I came up off the racing line, off the racetrack, so I was off the racetrack, coming to the pit lane, and then the pit's closed light went on. So I thought I was okay to commit to pit, and I mean, it was a matter of split second, and we get a drive-through for it. Not only that, then we were going to come in and get stickers, you know, dry stickers there, and it's just amazing all the scenarios playing out in my head. But we were actually just passing Tony Kanaan before the wreck happened, and he ended up on the podium. We missed the call for what Conway came in for when he came in for stickers. We missed that by 1 lap, and then the yellow came out, and then we were stuck out there. So a bunch of stuff just didn't go our way today. So we're 3rd in the championship, 60-something points out. Can still make this thing happen, that's for sure. So, you know, looking forward to moving on from Toronto. But thanks to all the fans for coming out. It was a long weekend. We finally got this thing in.
Thanks, Ryan. 69 points to be exact, and there is still a lot of racing to go this season.
I just can't get over it. What a Jekyll and Hyde season it's been thus far for Ryan Hunter-Reay. You can hear it in his voice. Another break, and we'll be back to Toronto. Welcome back to Toronto. Rain has set aside. There may be a great sunset coming up in just a few hours. Right now, let's continue post-race with Marty.
And let's chat with Charlie Kimball, who yesterday was not very happy when you and I chatted after qualifying. You're a lot happier today, 7th and 4th. Tell me about that last little battle with Will Power there on the track. That was fun.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. The problem with a drying track like that is there's such a narrow line, and you know, the 83 11-Mir Flex Touch car had been really good all day. We were picking our way through, holding our own in the rain, and then as it dried out, you know, we like to go to slicks early, but we kind of waited, and then we caught that yellow, followed everyone in, followed everyone out, and picked our way through the guys on wets. And you know, I just couldn't get past the 12 car at the end for the podium. But the Novo Nordisk guys have done a great job all weekend. They really deserved the 7th and the 4th today. And I think we put on a pretty good show for the fans, and they were really good for sticking with us.
I think for the year, you've passed more cars than anybody. You got to get this qualifying thing better because you always seem to finish well, but you have to make up a lot of ground in the race to do that.
Yeah, I'm voting for P-Pigs because that's as good as anything at the moment. No, we're finding it, and one of the reasons I was so frustrated after qualifying is I felt I got held up, and we were on a lap that would have transferred us to the top 12, and that would have been the first time this year. And that's the momentum this team is carrying at the moment. You can see it with Tony on the podium, myself. At one point, I thought it's going to be a pretty good day for Chip here with 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th all in a train in the wet conditions, but didn't work out that way. We'll kind of reload, refocus, go testing, and get ready to go to Mid-Ohio. And I'm looking forward to that one for obvious reasons.
Of course he's looking forward to it because he is the defending winner of that race. Kelly?
Marty, remember that horseshoe I told you about earlier in the race? Well, A.J. Foyt threw it in the trash after race 1 and said, you make your own luck, and that's exactly what this team did here in race 2. Takuma Sato picking up a season-best 5th place finish, but I have to imagine that feels like a victory.
Indeed. I mean, the whole team did a great job. I mean, what a bounce back, you know, after this morning, another unfortunate season. We've been so unlucky. We got a couple posts this season. We led the race a couple times and then still finished 5th is the best. I just couldn't believe it. But today, it was finally turn it over for the bad luck, and then the guys did a great job for the pit stop, and then obviously rain helped us a lot. I mean, we weren't really good shape at the beginning of the race. You know, we nearly half lap down, but then we just kept on going, and then the last few laps was a chaos. But I enjoyed it. You know, being strong today, and finally everything got together. So I know it's only a couple of events is left, but I think we should be strong now, and hopefully we achieve a more better result.
What is the focus for these last 4 races?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the Milwaukee is coming for our favorite and for the ABC Supply, and a couple of great road courses coming, and of course finally Fontana. So I think a good race is coming for the fans, and as well as for us, it should be stronger.
A great result today for Takuma Sato.
That it was. Thank you, Kelly. We're going to take another break. We'll be back to check the standings with 4 races remaining. No, see, this is how you work it, Will. This is how you take a selfie. And Tony would know. Stay with us. Back at Toronto, there's your podium finish. In the second of the 2 in TO. Part of the Honda Indy Toronto. Mike Conway the winner over Tony Kanaan and Will Power. Here are the standings. 4 races remaining. The gap from Castroneves to Power down to 13, and the top 18 drivers all still mathematically alive for the championship.
And it's going to be a great run to the finish. Castroneves has worked so hard to improve his pace relative to Will Power on road courses. Will Power worked tremendously hard to improve his game on ovals. We have 2 road courses, 2 ovals left to go. It's going to be awesome.
Guy on the move the last 3 weeks has been Tony Kanaan. He's triple podium now, so confidence building. Marco Andretti continued to struggle. Sebastian had a great day today with a win, so that's catapulted him into the top 10.
This will be my final appearance on the Verizon IndyCar Series here on NBC SN. I want to thank everyone, especially Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy, Kevin Lee, Marty Snyder, Kelly Stavis, and Robin Miller. Big celebration and a well-deserved break after 6 races in 4 weeks on the Verizon IndyCar Series. Now it'll be on, as Townsend mentioned, to road courses and ovals to finish the season. Now, if you're standing by for the Indy Lights Grand Prix of Toronto, that race will be rescheduled to a later date. We're going to send you instead to Lake Tahoe for the American Century Golf Championship, where they've had a few weather issues, but they'll wrap up on NBCSN. Meanwhile, the Verizon IndyCar Series continues Saturday, August 3rd, with the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, coming your way at 3 p.m. Eastern. For more information on the Verizon IndyCar Series, log on to NBCSports.com. Thanks for joining us. So long from Toronto.